Because she's pregnant, I'm divorcing you, he said, giving me a cold look. Next to him, his mistress smirked with delight. Hurry up and divorce, you barren hag, she said with a broad smile, to which I responded with a sly grin. No way. I'm not divorcing you. What? Because, I said, showing them something. My name is Anna. I'm a 31-year-old working while taking care of household chores. It's been 6 years since I married Henry, and we've yet to be blessed with children. We've been undergoing fertility treatments, but they haven't been successful. Every month, I'm reminded that life is truly a gift as I let out a sigh at the results. Lately, my enthusiasm for treatment has been waning. That's because our marriage has cooled due to our inability to conceive. While I still desperately want a child, Henry's reaction is more like another failure? What a waste of money. That certainly breaks my spirit. Lately, I've been thinking about trying in vitro fertilization. It might increase our chances, and I wouldn't have to deal with my increasingly cold husband. His cooperation is necessary, but I think it's up to me to convince him. Honestly, I'm ambivalent about having a child with my distant husband. But if we had a child, he might return to his kinder self. We might get along as a couple again. That sliver of hope keeps me going. However, there's a limit to timing. Lately, even when I tell my husband it's the right time, he responds coldly, "Give me a break." I'm exhausted from all the overtime. It's pointless to try timing it right when it's going to fail anyway. If timing is impossible, I guess I have to consider IVF, staring at our bank account in worry. Grants are available, but it's not free. I might be able to scrape the money together if I keep working, but if it doesn't work the first time, going for a second or third round is going to be tough. Quitting my job isn't an option, but I'd like to take it easy if possible. It's one challenge after another. The difficulty of trying to conceive without my husband's support has me looking up to the heavens. And then, the worst development awaited me. I'm being transferred on my own. What? I was taken aback by such a sudden announcement. A solo transfer? Why? It's just that we've had a case come up. The branch office suddenly lost a bunch of people in a row, and they're short-handed. They can't send a newbie, and families with kids are hesitant, so the task fell to me. We don't have kids, so it's easier, right? But we are planning to have a baby. How many years have we been trying? We've done all this, and still no results. We're not going to have kids, just give up. That's harsh. It's not my fault, you know. It's yours. Those words pierced my heart. Yes, my husband had gotten tested. And the results showed no issues on his part. I had some difficulties, making me the cause of our infertility. But still, those words were too much. I've been working hard every month, going for injections and doctor's visits. I've even been feeling sick from it all, but I kept working through. If the results don't come, it's all for nothing. His cruel words finally made me burst into tears. That's the problem with women, thinking crying will solve everything. Anyway, you have a job, so I'm going alone. Are you saying I don't have the option to come with? So you're quitting your job? I struggled to find words. There was the option to quit my job and follow him. But whether I could find a job that pays as well as my current full-time position in a new place was uncertain. And if I were to continue infertility treatments there, starting over at a new clinic, I was left speechless. I'll start preparing tomorrow. With a glance at me, he retreated into his room. In the end, I gave up on going with him. His transfer was finalized, and after a while, he left the house. Living separately, I started visiting him on weekends. He lived in a company-provided accommodation. When I arrived, he wasn't particularly welcoming and just handed me a week's worth of laundry to do. Washing and hanging it took up time, and by the time I was done and had cleaned up the room, the day was over. He just lays around, messing with his phone. Despite being in a new place, there were no outings together. "See you next week then, my maid," he'd say. It was only natural for a sense of emptiness to sweep through my heart. What's the point of being married? A few months later, on a weekday, I received a message from him. It read, "It must be hard for you to come every weekend. Once a month is fine." What? I was surprised, but it seemed he was too busy with work. In other words, my visit was a bother. The emptiness turned into sadness. Maybe it's really impossible to hope for a baby now. I had no idea when his solo assignment would end. And even if he did come back, our marriage might be completely broken. I sighed deeply. Then, about a year into his transfer, I visited his place after a month. I immediately felt something was off. "It's pretty clean in here." Well, yeah, after living alone for a year, you get the hang of it. But something clicked. It was a woman's intuition. A quick look around the room confirmed the unusual cleanliness. Hangers that weren't there before had multiplied, even without clothes to hang. A cup in the bathroom that hadn't been there before. A clean white face towel. Most of all, the kitchen felt out of place. He had never cooked before, but now there was a full set of cooking utensils, pots, and pans. "Started cooking?" I asked. "Huh? Oh, yeah, kinda," he replied, unenthusiastically. When I suggested he show me his cooking, he grimaced, "Why do I have to do something so tiring on my day off?" I didn't need a woman's intuition to tell me something was seriously off with my husband's behavior. Just as I was about to open the fridge to make something, he snapped, slamming it shut right in front of me. The bang startled me. "Look, just because we're married doesn't mean you can invade my privacy like this." "I'm sorry," I stammered, but his anger only intensified, his face turning redder. "That's it. Don't come here anymore. You just make things worse, and frankly, you're a nuisance." "What? Don't come back until I say it's okay." "Henry, wait. Just leave." But he pushed me out, and less than an hour after I arrived, he had thrown me out. Standing in front of the cold, closed door, I was stunned. But I wasn't about to just accept this and go home. Despite everything, I wanted to return to how things were between us, even if we couldn't have children. What should I do? It was too early to give up. I decided to tempt him back with things he liked. Please don't say it's sneaky, I was desperate. We once loved each other and vowed to spend our lives together. I couldn't let it end like this. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through the map app, visited a few nearby stores, and bought some of his favorite things. Holding them, I hummed to myself, thinking, maybe this will cheer him up, as I headed back to his place. But then, just as I could see his building and was about to approach the entrance to his room on the second floor, I stopped dead in my tracks. A woman in her 20s stood there. Could she be a resident or family member? As I watched, she stopped in front of Henry's room, and then he appeared, opening the door. "What?" I was stunned as they chatted, and she went inside, followed by Henry. There was no point in pondering. It was clear I had stumbled upon Henry cheating on me. I could have barged in, but shocked, I just went home. For days, I was a mess at work, making mistake after mistake. The image of that scene played over in my mind endlessly. Suddenly, tears started falling, and I had to leave work early. Back home, I could do nothing but cry. "It's too much," I muttered. Going through Henry's things. Did you not care about all this? Are you not coming back? Are you serious about her? Curiously, I peeked into a room he had told me never to enter and rummaged through unmarked boxes, hoping to find something that showed he still cared about our memories. If I found something, maybe I could find the strength to keep trying. Henry's room was full of boxes. As I opened each one, all I could say was, "What?" A few days later, Henry contacted me. I have something to talk about. Come over on your day off. I smirked at his bossy message. When I arrived at his place that weekend, the sight of a woman's jacket at the entrance gave away his intentions. Inside, Henry and the woman were sitting together. The same woman I saw before. Wow, what's with the huge bag? Planning a trip? I took them because I thought you needed them. Henry was taken aback by the large suitcase I brought. I shrugged, and he just grunted, uninterested. I want a divorce. Why? I asked, although I had expected this. Smirking, I listened as he said, because she's pregnant. Oh, pregnant? That's wonderful news. So, I'm divorcing you, the infertile one. The thought of being free from you is refreshing. The woman beside him smirked. Hurry up and divorce her, infertile. I smirked back and replied. No way. I won't divorce you. What? Their shock at my high-spirited refusal was evident. What's with that happy refusal? Have you gone mad because your husband left you? Unfazed by the mistress's rude remarks, I just smirked. Because, you see, I think I'm the only person in the world who'd want to stay married to a husband like this. What? As they tilted their heads in confusion, not understanding what I was saying, I pulled out something from the big bag I brought. Look at this fabulous dress, I said, pulling out a bright red, overly flashy dress. It was the kind of dress that's so embellished with sequins, frills, and extravagant decorations that it's too much even for a wedding these days, dazzling and heavy. Just as the mistress was about to comment on how tacky and in poor taste the dress was. Whoa, what? Henry's scream echoed throughout the room. Anna! Where in the world did you find that? Where? From the personal belongings you left at home. You went through my stuff? Well, you haven't come home for over a year since you started your remote assignment. I thought something important might get moldy if not properly stored. But you didn't have to go through my things without asking. It's good I did. This dress was safe, but some items were moldy. What? More shocked by the mold than my prying, Henry screamed even louder, tears welling up in his eyes. Hey, Henry! Henry's mistress, still confused, asked, What's going on? Why do you have such a dress in your room? And if what you're saying is true, you have several? Why? Well, I thought Michelle would look good in it, said Henry, with Michelle being the mistress's name. Michelle squinted skeptically. Huh? You know I hate flashy clothes like this. I've told you many times I prefer subdued colors and designs. Oh, did you? It's not, did you? What's going on? As Michelle grew more irritated, unsure of what to say, I decided to explain on Henry's behalf. Michelle, these are indeed Henry's personal belongings. I also brought several other dresses that were safe, I said, spreading out one flashy dress after another from the large bag. Stop it! Henry panicked, while Michelle looked appalled. What is this? Henry, your taste is terrible. I would never wear this, not even on my daughter. So what? I don't need you to wear them. They're too good for you. What did you just say? This is something I cherish and wear. Henry accidentally let slip during their argument. What did you just say? Michelle trembled, while Henry desperately tried to backpedal. No, it's nothing. Clearly, he was struggling to explain. So, I decided to present undeniable evidence. These dresses are Henry's treasured possessions. He even dresses up and takes photos in them. What? Michelle was shocked as I spread out photos of Henry dressed in these outfits, complete with wigs and heavy makeup. Screaming about privacy invasion. It's okay, no need to hide. Everyone has secret hobbies, and I won't spread this around, not even to your parents or siblings. But I think your future wife should know. With a serious look, I convinced Henry to listen. Smiling gently, I added, These precious dresses need proper care, or they'll get damaged by moths or mold, as some already have. If you had told me, I wouldn't have judged you and would have taken care of them. Keeping secrets is what's bad. Really? For real? Absolutely. Because we're married, aren't we? Smiling again, Henry stared at me in a daze. After a moment, tears filled his eyes. And he suddenly hugged me, crying, "Anna, you're the best wife ever." Okay, I get it, let go, it's annoying. Leaving a wife who understands you like this. I won't leave you. I'll never divorce you. Well, this went better than expected. Who knew uncovering Henry's secret stash would have such a powerful effect? He must have never felt able to share this secret hobby. It's odd how society accepts women dressing as men but not the other way around. Though understanding of gender fluidity is growing, societal prejudices persist. But true hobbies are worth sticking to, even under scrutiny. I get it, really. Even in my 30s, still following a pop star group I've loved since high school, I understand all too well. So, while I was patting the sobbing Henry's head, thinking how overly dramatic this was, Michelle yelled, "What is that supposed to mean?" Looking over, Michelle's face was beet red. What's with that hobby? There's no way I can understand that. Throw that away right now, or I'm not marrying you, she demanded, so I retorted, did you hear what he just said? He just said he's not leaving me. I don't care. I'm pregnant with his child. Do you plan on making this child fatherless? I do feel sorry for the child, I said as I peeled the still crying Henry away from me. His nose was even running, so he really needed to back off. Whether the child ends up fatherless isn't really our concern. What? That's something you should discuss with the real father of the baby in your belly, right? What? Michelle gasped in surprise. Henry stopped crying instantly and looked at me in shock. Anna? What do you mean by that? You haven't noticed, Henry? Michelle has someone else she truly loves. The child is his, not yours. What? Henry was completely taken aback. I dug through the bag with the dresses and pulled out a large envelope. I had a suspicion you were cheating, so I had a professional investigate. When did you? We haven't been living together, so I had plenty of time. What are you even saying? I scoffed, pulling out the investigation results from the envelope. I found out you two were supervisor and colleague at the same company, and that Michelle had been involved with her previous boss. What? Henry was flabbergasted and turned to look at Michelle, who had turned pale. The sudden shortage of people leading to your remote assignment? More likely, it was due to an affair within the company, and the former boss was just sent away to the countryside. What? The company didn't want to make a fuss. They left single Michelle behind and just transferred the married boss. Michelle, is that true? Turns out, Michelle is still seeing her former boss. He hasn't divorced his wife, who now treats him coldly, increasing his visits to Michelle even though they're long distance. Henry was speechless with shock. Yet, the former boss still loves his wife and won't divorce her. His wife, stubborn as ever, refuses to divorce too, making it impossible for Michelle to take him away. That's where you come in, Henry. Me? You fell for Michelle's temptation easily, didn't you? Henry had no response. It's terrible to cheat just because things between us have cooled off. I'm sorry, Henry mumbled, but I ignored him and turned to Michelle. Any defense or excuse? Her silence was enough. You can insist the child is Henry's all you want, but timing and frequent meetings suggest otherwise. Plus, a paternity test will reveal the truth about the parentage. I smirked, and Michelle stood up abruptly. Fine. A man who easily falls for another woman is no loss to me. She huffed before storming out. What a day. I sighed, looking at the scattered investigation results. Thank you, Anna, Henry said to me then. He smiled gently. Thank you for understanding my hobbies. And, he continued, I'll be more supportive in trying for a baby. No need for that. Huh? I'm saying something great face is unnecessary. I thought we could reconcile, but... What? No, because we're going to start over, right? You said we wouldn't get a divorce. But I can't continue with someone who cheats after just a short separation. What? Don't joke like that. There's your true nature. Getting angry when things don't go your way. Ugh. I don't mind your hobby. If you'd been honest, I might have even helped. But it's too late. Anna, wait a moment. I won't wait. Please sign the divorce papers immediately. I demanded, throwing the papers at him and leaving the room. Wait for me. His cries didn't reach me anymore. Eventually, through a lawyer, the divorce was finalized smoothly. The pregnancy aside, Henry's infidelity was indisputable. Henry kept saying I was the only one who understood his hobbies, but I moved on. As for Michelle, she was finally fired after a series of infidelity incidents came to light within the company. It turns out the child she was carrying was indeed her former boss's, and when she turned to him, leading to a dramatic confrontation. The former boss is likely on the brink of divorce. However, infuriated that Michelle caused the divorce with his beloved wife, he cut off all contact with her. With nowhere left to turn, Michelle shockingly showed up at her ex-husband's place. But her ex, having disrupted the company's morale like the former boss, was also demoted. Completely drained of money and facing a pay cut from his demotion, he ended up gaunt from stress. Disgusted by his miserable state in a rundown apartment, Michelle left him. She's now living a constrained life under her parents' roof, furious at her continuous misconduct. Feeling relieved after dealing with my ex-husband and Michelle, I moved out and started anew in a fresh condo. I don't want to see the inability to have children as a fortunate misfortune. I wonder if having a child would have led to a different future. But life doesn't entertain what-ifs. Using failure as a stepping stone and applying it to the future is what life is all about. Next time, whether it's just the two of us or with someone who loves and is loved in return, that's the goal. For that, first comes self-improvement, so I'm motivated to work hard both in my career and personal life.